Hello everybody and welcome back to the NLC. We're getting ready to go into game number 3, which is going to be Nativz taking on Riddle. Obviously Riddle right now 3-0, looking fantastic, looking like arguably, and a lot of people saying, are the best team in the league. On the other hand, Nativz 0-3, not quite so good, are struggling a little bit, and I think we can go on and on and on and sing all the stories of how great we think Riddle are, and we will do that. Don't worry, we'll get onto that in a little bit. But let's talk a little bit about Nativz. You know, what are their conditions? How can they actually look competitive or even win this game? So, Aragon, I'm gonna throw you the hard task here. You know, what are the positives right now for the side of Nativz?
Okay, okay, so it's pretty difficult, but like last week they had a game where they had a competitive game versus a team I can't remember, but a decently high standing team. Okay, and the draft they had was easy to execute, and they played for Flawed. Okay, they had double Enchanter plus Udyr, and Flawed on Udyr could just do whatever he wanted, and their team fighting was easy as well. The problem I've been having with Nativz recently is they keep forcing comfort when it's just not doing good enough to justify the comfort, right? So, for example, Unexpected, I don't mean to highlight poor play or anything like this, just he's not having the greatest games, and he keeps locking in his Taliyah, where if you look and do a bit of scouting on his OPGG through LoL Pros or whatever you do, he's an incredible Taliyah main, right? He plays a lot of games with Taliyah, but it's just not working with the team for whatever reason. So I think at what point do you start saying, right, guys, let's just put Unexpected on a supported pick and play for someone who's been playing well on the day in Flawed and just giving him prio, you know, buffing him up and letting him do his own thing.
Yeah. Well, and also kind of, you know, pulling away a little bit for a moment and just talking about Riddle. You know, we talk a lot about their strengths. They are 5 very, very capable players. I mean, Banderas, you know, you put him on a carry top laner if he can pick it. Like, I mean, this guy, if the Camille or the Fiora open, he will just blind pick it. Like, he doesn't give a damn. Yeah. And we saw him on day 1 get counterpicked. I think it was game 1, actually. Yeah, it was game 1 versus Veneer. He got counterpicked as well. He picked the Fiora first pick, first rotation. They can take it. They will blue side. They take the Fiora. He gets counterpicked, and he still stomps the game. Like, Banderas is honestly on a Renekton, on a Camille, not sorry, Renekton, on a Fiora, on a Camille, looks really, really scary and a very, very solid player. But the question we raised about Riddle was, are they 5 individually good players playing together, or are they actually a good team and playing as a cohesive unit? And I think that's something that we want to see. And at the moment, like you said at the beginning of the day, Aragon, was you said, I don't know if they are a good team yet, because we haven't really had the opportunity to see them play as a team. They are just winning as individuals, and, you know, almost like a very good solo TQ team in that sense. So I'm excited to see, you know, what this team are like as a group. And I feel like a match like this, if this is maybe an issue and something they've been struggling with, I feel like this is the best forum. This is the best place where you can actually work on that, because you are versus a team who are technically weaker, a team who are having a harder time in the league. So there is a window, there is an opportunity here to lock in, you know, a team which is a little bit less solo dependent and more built around working on your fundamentals as a team. So I kind of, you know, I'd like to see how they work as a team in that sense. So I'm excited to see maybe something like that, but realistically, I think, you know, we're going to have to see the Camille, we're going to have to see the Fiora get banned away on the side of Nativz. I believe it's Nativz red side, which I think means they don't get as many power picks. I can't remember which side. Wait, sorry. I've had a brain fart here. Is it red side or blue side where you have to make the bans right now? Like, you have certain bans you just have to make.
You have to ban on red side because there's too many, like, pick, like, for example, new Tsunami and stuff like this.
Okay, yeah. So that means actually then for the side of Unique, they get a little bit more freedom, potentially. But for now, oh no, not Unique, sorry. That was last game. Nativz. Anyway, Nativz are on the red side. Just disregard everything I was saying. Ashheim getting a banned away from Riddle. Zeri going to get banned away from Nativz. And let's see what the next couple of bans are going to be.
Yeah, exactly. And what I honestly want to look for, maybe if you're looking further on into the bans, I want to see Camille and Fiora banned away from Banderas. Because if this Fiora goes through right now, I'm telling you, he's probably just going to blind it, right? And the league hasn't done a great job of counterpicking his picks, okay? What we've seen is stuff like he'll blind pick Camille and they'll pick Cassante into it, which in and of itself, it's okay in early lane phase, but it gets outscaled with 1 item, so it's not the best counterpick, right? I just want to highlight, Spooder's Olaf has gone through. Okay, Spooder is probably one of the better Olafs in the EU West, and he's had it permabanned against him 3 games in a row. Okay, his Olaf is actually going through, and I imagine he's just going to pick that up and yoink it straight away.
Interesting. I mean, maybe that's just confidence from Riddle. They'd rather, ban away something like the Maokai and not ban out the Olaf and just leave that open for themselves. I feel like they probably do have something in the tank for it. Are just going to be looking here towards the likes of the Wukong as their jungler. We'll see what the pickup's going to be here for Nativz. Now that Wukong's in, they don't have to pick the Olaf until the end of the ban phase or the end of the pick phase. I'm expecting to see an AD carry here with Zeri and the Yuumi ban. I mean, Lulu's Sivir is up and available if you just want to pick that up.
Ooh.
Maybe going towards something a little bit different here. And actually, they're going to lock in the Udyr for the side of Flawed. Let's see what the next pick's going to be. I mean, I guess technically the Udyr can go top as well.
Yeah, no, it's most likely going to be Flawed. Flawed is an incredible Udyr player, and it looks like we're getting the beginnings of potentially a double enchanter comp like before. This is exactly what I said I wanted to see, because Flawed is just so damn good, but Udyr as a pick is cropping up a bit more recently. Most recently, we saw it in the LEC and G2. They did lose with it, but the idea is that Udyr can like outfarm every one of the meta picks, the meta jungle picks, stuff like Vi, stuff like the Wukong, and you just power farm whilst the Vi doesn't get, the Vi and the Wukong don't get anything done, and you just overtake them. You just become a juggernaut, right? The enemy just can't do anything. What you're going to want to look for is anti-melee like DPS to fight this Udyr, and like the answers that you typically see are stuff like Gwen, Cassiopeia, Varus, except now they've gone for the Lucian Nami, which still offers a lot of damage, but very good. We're seeing enchanters, please. Now Karma mid for the side of Unexpected, and I'm really happy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm amazed that they banned the Yuumi and the Zeri and didn't just ban like the Lulu and the Zeri or the Lulu and the Yuumi. Like the fact that they left that open, a little bit questionable. Well, on both sides, to be fair, but do you see the Nami into it? So I feel like this Lucian Nami, the expectation is in laning phase, this is going to be a very, very heavily bully heavy lane. And, also like you were talking about, the Udyr is probably just going to be power farm in the jungle. So this might be Johan's opportunity to go bot lane, get this Lucian Nami lane rolling, and just to snowball it from here. Now, looking towards what the bans are going to be, seeing the Jace getting taken away nice and early here from Nativz. Let's see what Riddle are going to be looking to ban away themselves. They take off the GP as an option. Obviously, that global pressure could be really, really scary to deal into. And I mean, already there's a lot of scaling on Nativz. You hand that GP over as well, you're adding additional scaling. So far, a lot of top lane bans.
Yeah, and as the pool gets pinched more, you gotta wonder, why isn't Olaf getting any presence? Maybe Spuda just doesn't want to pick Olaf when he could potentially get counterpicked by something like a Camille or a Tryndamere. However, Camille did just get banned. That kind of indicates to me that he wants Olaf, and I'd imagine Riddle should ban it away. No, maybe they're gonna pick Tryndamere instead of Olaf instead.
Yeah, it feels like Banderas has something up his sleeve, right? See what the next pick is going to be, though. They are running down that timer, thinking about what their next pick up. Are they going to try and make sure that they guarantee a counter pick mid or in the top? I think that's the big question. I'm expecting it to be a mid lane counter, and instead just picking themselves up as a solid top laner, unless they really, really feel confident in going for that Olaf. They decide not to. They go for the Cassante. I think realistically, maybe a bit of a smarter pick than an off-better pick like the Olaf. They've already got the Udyr on the team as well. Kind of gives them a bit more frontline capability on that front. Now let's see what the answer is going to be here from Banderas. He has that Fiora open to him and available if he wants to go for that. I don't know too much about that matchup. Oh, wait, Fiora. It was. Oh my god. I didn't see it. Yes. Good shout.
Oh, the Gwen is very good here. Okay, yes. So the Gwen is fantastic here because Gwen, this was what was picked into Udyr, like in the LEC, right? And the idea is that Gwen is an incredible anti-melee champion. You have a very good matchup into Cassante, very good matchup into Udyr, and they like to run into you, right? But they just get snipped by Gwen's percentage max health damage, right? Gwen is incredible at doing this, and now what you want to probably look for is some more anti-melee, in the mid lane or short range, stuff like this. This is very good too. Syndra, incredible pairing with Wukong, right? At level 6, you just come mid and blow whoever there is there up.
Yeah.
And I'd imagine something like an Akali into the Syndra is really good. That's a go-to pick right now. But maybe they choose to opt into like more outrange stuff like the Victor. But yeah, we'll have to see. I'd bet on Akali personally, but maybe Unexpected doesn't play it, and they're just going to go for a Karma or a. See, the thing is, you can't pick Karma into the Syndra. That's not good. So they just decide to go with Victor.
I will say, I actually really like the fact that they did pick this Gwen up because they had the Wukong jungle. I mean, this is a nice damage spread here. They got a lot of AD, a lot of AP. I mean, For Spuda now, like, itemization is going to be a bit harder because he's either got to deal with the Gwen or the Wukong. And obviously, if he builds armor, Wukong still has armor shred. So either way, it gets actually quite hard for him to deal with these kind of level 6 ganks, or even earlier, I guess, ganks. So we'll see if the attention comes in towards that top lane and how Spuda handles it. On the other hand, like you said, you've got that kind of point and click ultimate. You've got the ability to lock down the Victor. If Johan can force unexpected flash early, Victor is just like Orianna in that sense. Like, once that flash is down, he's such an easy champion to gank. He's very, very exposed. I think bot lane is also, a potential another avenue, I guess, as well, because you've got the Lucian Nami. But if you're on the side of Nativz, you kind of just want to chill this game. You want this early game to be smooth and as unbumpy as possible. And normally I ask you for your predictions on the champ select and like how the game's going to go. I think I've just done it for you here. I feel Nativz want to chill and wait for like mid to late game to start coming alive. Riddle can honestly just pick up at least early in this game because they've got that Wukong, because they've got that powerful bot lane. They can look to actually accelerate the game from a fairly early state.
Yeah, and so for the side of Nativz, I completely agree with you, right? Natives have a lot more priority, though. It's something that you didn't highlight. I wanted to highlight. Lulu Severe, I'm pretty sure can get priority into Lucian Nami at least level 1, right? And potentially convert that lead into like some counter jungling or something. You have mid lane priority. I think Victor gets priority into Syndra, although I'm not 100% sure. But there is no setup. There's actually no setup, right? There's no setup at all. And it's all on Riddle to make the plays, right? You have potential early with Wukong, with the Syndra, right? But other than that, this early game might be kind of quiet.
Yeah, I think we could be in for that. It's dependent on mistakes made as well. I think that's the kind of big thing. We have seen the side of Nativz make maybe a couple of mistakes they shouldn't have, a few silly mispositions, and kind of get caught out a few times, and unexpected. He's been picking this Talia up, like you were saying earlier, and he's made quite a few mistakes on his main, and it hasn't really had the impact. He's now off his main and he's onto this Victor. See how this is going to go. But we're onto the Rift for our third game of the day. I think eyes for me, at least early, are going to be towards Reptile and Kiba in the bot lane.
Yeah. And honestly, I'm really surprised they didn't just ban away the Syndra, because Syndra counters Unexpected's entire pool. Right? Everything that I would want Unexpected on, Syndra just destroys it. So I'm honestly really surprised they didn't just ban it away, but maybe they just prioritize other bans, But we'll have to see how they do it. I imagine Florida's just going to go for a standard full clear, whilst Johan does look for that 3 camp into, action that we're seeing very, very frequently on the meta junglers. I haven't been convinced by Udyr. I don't know if you saw the LEC, but there's a lot of hype around Udyr in the LEC community and the whole global community that Udyr is that, that next big thing, the counter to the meta that everyone's looking for. But every time I see it played, it just doesn't do anything. And then it dies. Maybe that's down to execution, but in my opinion, it just doesn't look the best.
Ooh, Kiba trying to contest this for the moment. The Ignite's being thrown down, but there was no summoner burn. Oh, there was a heal burn by Kiba. Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, Nativz get control of the bush. They're able to clear out the ward. But now we're at that point where Reptile, when he hits that level 2, we'll have quite a lot of bursts, and obviously you still running that Sivir on the side of Nativz, so the expectation there is, you are going to be taking it a little bit more chill. Obviously you do have quite a lot of shoving power just because you are Sivir, and inherently that champion has a serious amount of shove. There's Fire Rain making sure he doesn't miss that caster minion with that Force of Will. It looks like he's actually matching right at the moment to Unexpected, but obviously haven't got all their points and wave clear available quite yet. I don't know much about coming in top matchup. I don't know much about I was about to comment, unfortunately. So I mean, this is kind of your area as the top lane player.
Yeah. I mean, I just break it down real quick. It's not that complicated. Like, Gwen at her core is a scaling champion, right? She has a lot of scaling in her kit. She needs to get levels, especially levels. Her big spike's like level 13 because her mobility increases as she gets leveled in an area and she maxes it second. So she wants that. But basically how this goes is Xante excels at short trades, short pokey trades, where he Qs and then autos afterwards. He wants to do that like this and then back away.
He took a tower shot!
Is that a kill?
Banderas dashed into the tower!
Wait, what happened? Wait, Spuda, this is the second solo kill he's had. I need to see that again because I'm not sure what happened.
Unfortunately, we don't have it. Shame. But he eased into the tower. I think he was trying to dodge Spuda and just like totally misaimed it and went into the tower. That was so rotten for him. Looks like Flaud's actually coming down. The moment Reptile tries to go for the fight, they are going to look for the lockdown onto him. Instant cleanse out. So much damage onto Reptile. The burn doing just a phenomenal amount of damage. And that's the problem. If you go for that dash early, it can bite you back a little bit.
Yeah. And do you want to know a fun fact about Cassante in the LEC specifically? It's like 90% of Cassante games, they find like a kill, some stupid kill by flipping them into the tower. It's like, have you ever seen a Singed flip someone into a tower and they just die?
Yeah.
This is what happens every single game in the LEC with Cassante. For some reason, top laners, they just can't learn. I can say that because I'm a top laner myself, and I get flipped by Singed and Cassante as well, and I just die. It's just so easy to die to this champion if you overstep even a tiny amount.
Do you know, there's a lot of talk about like well-designed champions. A lot of people always go to Jhin as a well-designed champion.
Or Yumi, yeah.
I think that's on the other end of the scale.
I was joking.
I'm going to be honest with you. As Flaud is getting himself in a fight here with Fire Rain. He's getting the stun off, but Monkey Pop comes in, and Johan able to secure that, and he'll get himself a Scuttle Crab as well as his prize. Lovely little pickup there. I'm just going to go back to my kind of well-designed champion discussion. Do you know who I think is actually a well-designed champion and hasn't really had much done to him in a long time? Singed. I actually think he's not good, right? Like, a lot of people don't play Singed. And he's annoying as hell to play, but thematically, he's actually a well-designed champion. Like, he really hits the theme of that champion so well.
That certainly is an opinion. I can't say I agree. You know,
why do you think he's a bad designed champion? What about him do you think is badly designed?
Well, I mean, okay, so the champion, basically top lane, it likes to not interact, right? You know, the whole proxying thing. It hates interaction. It'll do that, and it's incredibly... I just feel like it's incredibly unintuitive.
He's annoying. Oh, he's annoying as hell. Don't get me wrong. I hate playing into him, but I don't think that's inherently a bad thing. That like his design is, he doesn't interact, and he you know, proxying is like a unique thing which he's one of the few champions which is capable of doing. And it's stupid as it is, I think he pulls it off. We might have to hold that thought though, because Banderas is in danger. The ult comes out. Banderas timed that beautifully. The tower shot. The triumph. Spooner with the solo kill again.
And Spooner is having an absolute terror. Look at this flip. He managed to walk inside the Gwen immune to get that in the range of the Q3. Managed to ulti, even tanking the tower, but confident in his mobility to get out afterwards and gets his second solo kill of the game. He's had 3 solo kills in the last 2 games. What is going on with this play? It's incredibly good gameplay in the past 3 games.
Really, really close there. Unbelievable. I can't believe he got that. And Banderas genuinely played that well to get him under the tower, like saved the dash until the moment, and then just unfortunately still went down. Now Riddle are going to use the power they have got in this bot side to pick up some damage onto this dragon, and actually Flaud as well gets himself caught out. They got the unleashed power. There's going to be the shield coming in. Fire Rain now taking a bunch of damage in response as he's getting zoned out for the moment. Remix pops himself the spell shield as they do throw down the Chaos Storm. The Polymorph lands on the Fire Rain. He has to flash away. Bubble does land. Can Johan get the smite? He's able to, and he's able to get out as well. Gets out with his life. Unbelievable. Riddle able to secure that objective.
And they walk away limping. They managed to secure it, but everyone's on 200 HP. It was incredibly close. I thought that was going to get stolen away by Flaud, but clearly not. Managed to get it and secure it, and you've got to be... another sigh of relief for the side of Riddle. Really glad that didn't turn worse, because I saw a potential quadra-kill there. You know, everyone dying on that side.
Oh, that could have been dirty. That could have been messy, but they are A-okay. And even with Banderas going down twice, he has actually got a farm lead over Spooder. Spooder will be catching up somewhat underneath his tower. But man, that is, even with the misplays, he's still doing an okay job of keeping himself relevant. And it's Gwen. Gwen still spikes on, is it 3 items or 2 items nowadays? I believe it's 2, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you have your spikes. You want to get to certain levels and you want to get the items. Usually it's like Riftmaker +1, you know?
Yeah.
But this has got to feel good for Spooder, right? Because he was coming into this league, he was touted as potentially the worst top in the league. But the past 2 games, he's really proving those tier lists wrong. And he's doing it against like what people call potentially the best top in the league outside of WoW, right? It was like WoW and then it was Banderas. That was the unanimously agreed upon like ranking for top laners, and Spooder's getting the better of him. Was counterpicked as well against Gwen, but this action topside, Is Gwen gonna die again, or doesn't look
I don't
like
know.
it?
They've got Ghost and they've got their team nearby. I think Banderas is feeling comfortable because his team is in the area, and the fact he had Ghost as well. So he's just gonna get these honey fruit that was left down for him. Nice little snack. Rift Herald. I'm curious where Johan's going to use this. Is he going to try and look to accelerate the likes of Reptile or Fire Rain, or is he going to try and recover top lane for Banderas and, give him some plate golds? Actually, with the fact that 2 plates have already gone down, a good gank into a Rift Herald, even if Spuda survives the gank, could be a first tower blood over to Banderas, and suddenly that lane, which is in a little bit of a deficit, could come back somewhat. So I actually think with those 2 plates being down, I'd like to see this get used in topside.
Yeah, potentially. That is definitely something you could look for. It's a little bit tricky, right? Because you can't exactly dive the Cassante, and he's super tanky and super mobile, right? So it's pretty tricky. However, Johan is quite fed. Doesn't look like it's going to happen. I think Johan's going to path down to his bot camps and potentially use the Herald, maybe onto the Lucian to accelerate him to that Gale Force spike, because the Gale Force mandate spike is super important for this combo. And I think I would prefer that too. I think the Gwen is inevitably going to get to do Gwen things, into this melee composition with Cassante and Udyr. She is eventually going to start shredding them. And yes, she might be a little bit behind, but she's keeping up with CS, like you'd expect her to be down in CS, and tempted chunk here, but it doesn't look like it's going to mean anything.
I think also, just as I'm kind of noting, we got 2 minutes until the dragon comes up. So actually, by the time he's done the camps and kind of got either mid or bot set up, he can put the Herald down, then transition that into one of these objectives. So yeah, you know what? Maybe not using it in that top lane. I think Banderas is actually probably fairly equal in gold just because of those 2 tower plates and the farm he's got. I'd like to have a quick look at the gold. I'm assuming Spuda's got a lead, but I don't think it's absolutely monumental. No, it's really not. It's 400-500 gold, so it's actually not the end of the world. Banderas has done a very good job of stemming the bleeding from one mistake and also one outplay from Spuda. Really, really clutch stuff. Is wow, Remix does eat a little bit of damage, but great shielding and healing coming in and available. 1 minute 10 until this dragon comes up, and Johan has cleared out all of his bottom camps, so he's going to be able to now rotate around freely and pick up what he wants. Is unexpectedly takes the scat of the week, and with him chunked out, this now may lean towards mid lane being that point of attack, as Johan already moving into the area. Flawed is going to spot him out, though. He's got the stun to lock Johan in place. Johan doesn't give a damn, has got a tidal wave, but I think a little bit of a miscommunication there is going to blast Cone away to safety.
And look at that damage. A level down. Is this an ulti into a kill?
Again? No way, Banderas. You're not getting caught again like this. Needlework's coming in for the slow. Spuda is chasing Banderas down, able to just about dodge away. That's twice now in this game that's happened.
Yeah. Are you seeing what I mean? Every single time anything happens with Cassante in early lane phase, it's a flip into a tower. Every single time. And I don't understand how this happens so consistently. It's like it happens in almost every single Cassante game. It's like an expectation. Now, Spuda looks like he might be able to get demolished from topside, but there might also be a 3v3 bot.
Yeah, they're coming in. Baloo's going to flash forward to get the Cyclone off, and he's going to have to heal to keep himself alive. Second Cyclone available to Johan. Flashes forward. Flawed is going to be able to get out. They have that Rift Herald. They can get pressure in this bot side. They should be able to get most of these plates, and fortunately, we are going to have ourselves a quick pause off the back of that one. I'll get production to give me a quick update on what's going on that front, but a very, very messy start and a bit of a sloppy start to this game from Riddle, a team who, we were talking about as the best team in the league and the team who everybody is touting as being one of the strongest teams. Realistically, this is versus a 0-3 team, and it is way closer than it should be. I mean, I'm going to expose you here, Oregon. In the break, you said to me, I think this is going to be like a 20-minute and done game. And I don't think this is going to be a 20-minute and done game.
I mean, I guess I'm kind of eating my words hard, but it still looks like it's Riddle favored, right? I think I'm predicting
absolutely.
I think sub 30 minutes still for the side of Riddle, okay? Maybe that's copium, because I failed my prediction before, but I still think it's probably going to be a sub 30 minutes. They're still accelerating, and whilst Banderas is not having the best game, other teammates are stepping up. Look at Johan, he's 2-0 already, and this guy, you know what, this is a prediction I'm confident making right now. He's going to be the end of season MVP for the entire league. Okay, he is unbelievably cracked. I think he's probably the best player in the league, and every single game, his gameplay reflects that. I
think in hindsight, actually, after kind of making that point, I think it's Banderas making mistakes more than all of Riddle, right? Like, I was kind of like, Riddle are making mistakes, they don't look great. It's actually, Banderas still looks fine, but like, he is making some pretty criminal mistakes. The rest of his team are doing a fantastic job of keeping themselves relevant. I mean, if we look at the gold lead right now, 2,000 over to the side of Riddle. The individual gold leads as well. I mean, jungle is almost 1,000 gold difference there. Bot lane, significant gold difference there. Mid lane, 800 gold lead over the fire lane. Like, the gold leads are spread out as well. And that doesn't bode particularly well for Nativz because it means multiple people will be accelerating away from them at once. And top's still fairly equal. So at the end of the day, Spuda has been able to capitalize on some mistakes made by Banderas, but ultimately hasn't really cost him too much. And they're going to get the plates here as well. So first tower blood, including plates, is Remix is assassinated. I did not see that one coming.
He's just completely evaporated by the culling 100-0. I don't think he saw it coming. I didn't see it coming because I guess I don't play bot lane. And he just one-shot him with that completed Gale Force plus Zeal. It must have just been enough damage to destroy him. Look at that item differential on bot side. That must be why. Wow, I didn't expect that.
Well, there's a pink ward here, so Spuda will be able to see Johan coming in, but the slows from the needlework makes it pretty hard for him to get away. He has the knock up. They're bringing the teleport in. He's going to blink out there with the charge of the ultimate. Second charge of the cyclone. Johan's out. Ultimate for teleport and ultimate burn.
Does look like they're going to be recalls now and a free Rift Herald. You want to know something funny? That I was speaking to Banderas, right? I don't think there's going to be any action now. It just looks like a free Rift Herald. I was speaking to Banderas about how he thought a matchup went, right? Because I like to talk to the top laners, see how they're doing in the league. And Banderas was telling me how he was struggling against Cassante, like in this one matchup where he played Camille into Cassante or something like this. And he said it was impossible to tell how good the enemy top laner was because Cassante, and I quote, is a noob champ. That was his entire description of Cassante. So, I mean,
you know what? That's funny because when me and you talked, you were saying, yeah, Cassante's got quite a high skill ceiling. So which one is it?
Yeah.
That's the
thing
real
is,
question.
I think he does, but that's relative to other tanks, right? It's like Cassante's the hardest tank, but your competition is Ornn, right? So
yeah, okay.
I think it's fair to say.
Well, I mean, to be fair, Spuda is playing it very well.
He's still playing extremely well.
Banderas has found Remix here. He's looking to chase him down. He hasn't actually got the needlework, but the snip, cut, down goes Remix. Back to the grey screen with a fancy new haircut. Banderas gets himself on the board with his first kill.
And despite being 0-2-0 down, still finding those proactive plays, right? That's just the mark of a good player. The ability to come back, even despite having like deficits. Do you remember 29G2? Do you remember this, Brain? They were so good. You know, they would go behind, but then they would find all these ways to come back, whether it's picking on side, whether it's split pushing. But that was what made them so good. And every time I see teams, I don't just want to see how good they are from ahead. You know, I want to see, like, when they lose, when they go down a deficit, what do they do that's creative, that lets them come back into games? And Banderas is showing it. You know, he flanks the AD carry with Ghost. It's really, really solid stuff.
I also think we are seeing more of that kind of team Riddle we wanted to see. Here, I think we're seeing Johan being very proactive with the team. I think, you know, it's being more, you know, this game is, while there's some really solid solo performances coming out, I don't think it's defined by the solo players this time. I think we are actually seeing exactly what we wanted from Riddle, which is a very team-focused and a very kind of group-played focused version of the team. A bit of a miscommunication there as Kiba throws out the tidal
you were just
wave.
talking about that.
Not an overly long cooldown, as Rift Herald also gets summoned here. Can Fire Rain finish it up before the charge comes down? Yes. So they'll have a full health Rift Herald to work with on this charge. And now over to the side of Nativz. Can they hold this tower? The Scout of the Week will force them out of the bush. In charge is Shelly. Tower's low. Are they going to get the second charge or are they going to call it off? I think the smart decision is to call it off. Spuda will be able to take out the Shelly and make sure that that is not going to do any more damage. Meanwhile, Banderas on the other side of the map is going to start up some damage onto this top lane, bot lane tier 2. It looks like nobody's actually looking to contest him on that. And he's at the point now where he's got that Riftmaker, he's got the snip. He can actually cut through the waves really, really fast. Decides to play it smart and just take away camps instead of risking his life for a bit of tower damage.
Yeah, and I don't know if you feel the same way, but it just feels like Nativz are always one step behind in terms of macro. Riddle will be making a play and, like, for example, hitting that turret, hitting the tier 2 turret, and Nativz will be late, they'll arrive, and then the tower's gone, you know, or they just can't step up in the first place. It feels like, despite being comparable gold, you know, with Spuda, they just don't have the, like, they don't have the macro knowledge or the level at pushing their lead or matching or making any, like, proactive play. But maybe I'm about to eat my words as Firerain might walk up to CS here, and Flawed finds a kill.
Oh, he's used the scatter. He's in trouble. He flashes away. That is the Chaos Storm burn. Flash down from Firerain. He just greeted for the wave. He knew something was up, and he thought he could maybe just clutch it out and get out in time. But unfortunately, not going to be the case, as he does lose his flash for that. But he's able to hold his life. The tower still stands. He's still going to be A-okay on that front. Does mean, though, you know, now that if top lane tower does go down at any point before his flash comes back up, he's going to be a long way away from home in a long lane with no flash.
Yeah, no, and he's going to have to overextend. Control mages do not like extending like this. They're too easy to pick off, you know, like this Ghost Udyr. Ghost's going to be up very soon. You just flank him. The same with Spuda, but will he stay in the side lane? Probably not. He'll probably just push out a wave, then go group up on the dragons. That's pretty much the meta right now. 4th dragon will be spawning eventually. I just realized, how did they get 4th dragon whilst being so far behind? Johan is a demon. Is he really securing every single Rift Herald and dragon whilst being behind top side and bot side?
Yeah, he was behind earlier, but to be fair, he has been the glimmering hope of his team. Like 3-0 right now. Yeah. He's very, very strong. And I just think, you know, he was taking like good opportunities to take these dragons. Like a lot of the kills and a lot of the mistakes, but well, I mean, Banderas is the only person who's died, but a lot of the mistakes that were being made by Riddle didn't really come at like opportune times for Nativz to then punish and take an objective off the back of, when Riddle were actually, you know, even though bot side, I don't think they weren't losing. They made, you know, like a rough trade at the beginning of the game, but like they were making sure that they were set up to secure these dragons for the team. So I think it was just, you know, again, team play, good shot calling, great decision making. As that's a tidal wave, that's a Lulu who's alive because she wild growthed herself. But a dead tower, Riddle, they did burn a lot there, but you know they got the tower ultimately, and only one tower outside the base now stands to the side of Riddle.
Yeah, like you said, ultimately completely confident they can do that because the tower's so low. If the dive ever did start to get dicey, they just kill the tower, right? It was one Sheen proc away. Spuda trying to steal away the Grump. I think it's too tanky and he doesn't get it, but Flawed. I want to highlight Flawed, right? Just bring him back to what was the game plan from Nativz? Their plan was to use priority early game and just scale up, right? And hopefully have Flawed out farm Johan, but he's down at farm, and yes, his camps are being contested. But he hasn't really done anything. And this is the problem I have with Udyr. I feel like, in theory, it makes sense. You just outfarm the Wukong while he tries to find ganks, but the Wukong always finds stuff. And you're against Johan, right? Johan will find plays on this Wukong. He has done all, like, the past 4 games. And in the end, the scaling just comes online too late.
Yeah, no, it absolutely does. It's been a bit of a rough one on that front. Obviously, you do still have Sivir. You do still have that kind of like 300 CS, 3 item Sivir kind of power spike, and that's always something that can't be sniffed at, especially when you've got the Lulu backing it up, when you've got, you know, the tanky Udyr and the tanky K'Sante standing in front as well. You know, are there going to be the opportunities for the likes of Reptile to be able to jump in and burst out remix enough to kill him, or Johan or Banderas? Like, are they going to actually be able to survive long enough if we do get to that point? But at the moment, that's not a problem. At the moment, Riddle have got themselves a significant gold lead. They've got a lot of pressure on the map, and they are calling the shots on when these plays go down. Now, in jumps Flawed. He's going to do his best. He's not going to be able to steal the Baron away, though. It was a solid attempt. They only really committed the 1 life for it. So I actually think, ultimately, Nativz, it was the right decision to be made. They tried, they failed. You know, better to lived and lost. Wait, that's not the saying. It's better to have lived and lost than to.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
There we go.
Spuda's looking for a pick potentially. I don't like that Baron from the side of Riddle. This might be controversial, but I think, considering how far ahead you were, how can you let a bare stance Udyr who's CC immune walk into a Baron pit and have it actually be stealable? right? I think that was actually a genuine mistake from Riddle, letting the Baron get too low. I think they needed to leash the Baron, keep it at like 3k or whatever, so that Flawed couldn't run in there and potentially steal it, because you can't stop an Udyr running into the Baron pit. Maybe they didn't realize in the moment, which is completely understandable. His rework's fairly recent, and it's hard to think about in the moment, but yeah, I think if we're going to be nitpicky, that was a misplay, which could have costed them at least 5 minutes of the game extending, because they would have gotten Baron, because there was no way to stop that Udyr from stealing it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, here we go. We're going to see
Chemtech
Riddle
Soul.
going for that Chemtech Soul. That is going to be a rough one now for Nativz to be playing into. Spooder will be able to get that objective bounty. Take that top lane tower for himself, and a lot of solo gold to himself there as well. The problem is, like, yeah, that's great gold onto your Cassante, but, like, he's kind of okay. Like, he's the one player on Nativz right now who's probably not as reliant on getting that gold for himself, because he's, you know, he's got his 2 items. He's feeling very comfortable. He got those 2 kills in lane as well. So he's A-okay. Realistically, you want Remix to be picking up as much gold as possible, but obviously Remix had to be in the base to be able to clear out this minion wave. So, you know, again, it's just the opportunities came to Nativz, but I just think at not the most opportune times. Oh. That was a bit rotten. Keep it in
Yeah, that was pretty nasty. Okay, so heal popped, and I mean, it's fine, I believe. Like, the Chemtech Dragons are actually keeping them sustained a little bit. Spooder might have a pick here, but I don't think he has the damage, and Riddle are probably going to be able to collapse. I think it's just going to be a 3-lane siege, whilst Nativz try to engage on 1 lane, right? Because this is the counterplay to a siege. You just try to barrel it down, stop 1 lane, stem the bleeding a little bit, find that engage, but they just don't have great engage. They'll have to commit a severe ult, but the problem is then that has to work, right? The second that severe ult doesn't work, you just have nothing. Right, which is a really big problem with this roster, this champion select. They just have no engage outside of a severe ulti, so they can't stop this this siege.
And I think the Syndra then in turn is a fantastic pick into it, because you press the severe ult, the Scatter the Weak pushes you back, it may stun if you have the orbs as well. It really slows down that ability to go for the engage and kind of just wastes time. So honestly, it's rough for the side of Nativz right now. They're behind, they're lacking engage, 10k deficit in the gold front. They've got Soul against them. And the side of Riddle right now, you know, they've got 4 minutes until the Elder Dragon comes up. They've got 2 minutes until the Baron comes up. You know, they are in a position now where they can just look to play this game at their tempo. Obviously, they don't want to take too long. They don't want Sivir to come online and completely overtake the game, but I don't think that's a realistic threat right now.
Yeah, and also, Nativz do have the tools to stall, right? This is a strength of the team. Whilst they don't have a lot of engage, they do have, you know, we have severe Victor wave clear, meaning they can't get sieged upon, and maybe, you know, the win condition of eventually stalling out. I'd say they probably have, like, you know, there's a 1% chance this actually stalls out versus that Soul. Flawed, getting chunked, trying to find that pick, trying to move in and get that vision. This poor singular ward is just going to get immediately taken, and they're just going to go back, you know, potentially reset, get more wards.
It's going to be hard for Nativz to move out of their base. They've got great, you know, like you said, great ability to clear those waves, but I think the problem is they can't actually leave the base. All they can do is farm and just hope. And, like, realistically, you have... I mean, the Baron's going to be hard to give up, but, like, it's that Elder, I think, is the real kind of, like, okay, if Nativz give up Baron and Elder, the game's done. Because all it takes is a little bit of poke to kill somebody at that point. All it takes is the Baron minions just to be able to siege the lanes. With both of those tools combined, I think that is the definitive moment where Riddle can close the game out. And if Riddle don't close it out with both those tools, then there's problems. I just think Nativz, you know, do they look to give up the Baron and just take an extra minute of farming to get, you know, maybe that Infinity Edge finished up onto Remix? But is he going to get an IE in the next minute? He's going back to base. He got an Agility Cloak. So he hasn't even got 1,300 gold to buy the BF sword with.
Yeah, I mean, you're completely right. It's all about spikes and potentially getting to a spike where you say, guys, we're not going to get any stronger than this. We take a fight. It is a really dire spot, and I would not want to be Flawed right now. Yes, he just got to his 2-item spike, but for the past 5 minutes, I don't know if you've been watching him. He's even emoting because he has nothing to do, right? Flawed has just been walking around accompanying, bodyguarding people because he has no camps to take because they've all been taken, right? Every single one. He can't face check the jungle. He is right now, fortunately, because the entirety of Riddle is coming off of a reset, but for the past 5 minutes, he really has had nothing to do.
Yeah, it's been hard to play the Udyr in here, and it didn't quite pan out like they planned, unfortunately, is Remix showing off the powers of the Sivir there. Is going to get chunked out heavily by that culling, but is able to hold his life for a little bit. And those tower shots actually somewhat equalize out the trade, but unfortunately, there's an army. It's the Nami heals come in. Reptile almost back to full health already. And Reptile himself hasn't actually... Oh, he has finished up that third item. He's got the Gale Force, Hurricane, and... not Hurricane, Rapid Fire Cannon and the Mortal Reminder. Building towards that IE for himself right now. But like I was saying, Remix, he hasn't quite got the gold yet to go that IE, get that third item. And I think with that, he might have a window. He might have an opportunity. We expected this Baron to be given up. It's this next objective. 1 minute until the Elder Dragon comes up, and already Nativz trying to get some wave presence, some wave dominance here, but Remix, no ultimate available, has to flash, he has to heal, he has to try and hold his life, but I don't think Johan's going to give him the opportunity. 2 members go down. Riddle, it was all a bait. They don't need it. They don't need the Baron. Unexpected is popped. Riddle finds 4 kills, and now the wave clear is dead. Spooder, level 16, has to hold versus 5 members of Riddle on his own here. They've got the teleport on Banderas to make sure that he comes in with the minion wave. And these towers will be going down. I think, unfortunately, for the side of Nativz, their opportunities to get into this game have been denied. And it has been a slower, more tempered, but more controlled game by Riddle. Under 30 minutes, you called it. Riddle, go 4-0.
And I think that's exactly what makes them so scary, right? Like, one person can have a bad day, but every single person on Riddle is good. You just know that. So someone else steps up and carries, and that was all 4 members of the team outside of Banderas. Banderas did turn it back, to be fair. He found those picks, but even though he went 0-2 in lane phase, it didn't matter because ultimately, they are the collective sum of their parts is so damn high, and on top of that, they have really, really, really good team play.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. I think, you know, we definitely saw some life there out of Nativz again. I feel like I've said this every time I've casted them now. Like, yeah, oh man, they showed signs of life, but like, you need to actually be alive. Unfortunately, you need to actually have those moments. I think genuinely the key issue that Nativz had there was they just drafted quite a lot of scaling. You know, they picked the Sivir Lulu. It's not a bad lane. They also picked the Victor as well. You know, you need some better time, and like, you had a lot of wave clear, but it just felt like, you know, the Cassante wasn't a bad pick, and in fact, it was definitely one of the key kind of standout picks for that team. I just also at the same time have to go, yeah, but they didn't pick any engage. You know, with an Ornn, that game could have been a little bit easier for them with, you know, with a different jungler instead of the Udyr. And I think maybe that was the big issue. Maybe the Udyr draft was kind of ultimately what cost Nativz that game. But Riddle continue their streak and continue to look like a very, very strong team. I do think, you know, there were a few moments where Riddle did look a little bit, maybe not lost, but they're a little bit nervous or a little bit unwilling to kind of push the advantages that they got. Early game didn't quite go as smooth as I expected. I mean, they had a Lucian Nami. I expected them to like kind of hard stomp bot lane, and they were in charge of bot lane, but it definitely wasn't a hard stomp.
Yeah, I mean, I'm worried for the side of Riddle, where over time, issues, and specifically, I feel like I'm picking on Banderas, but he's my friend, so I'm gonna, you know, he'll be fine with it. I'm worried that champ pool becomes an issue, because every single game now where he's Fiora and Camille have been banned away, he just doesn't seem as good on other picks, right? His Fiora and Camille are insane, right? They're absolutely insane, but this Gwen getting solo killed like that twice when he has counterpick seems a little bit iffy to me. Maybe he just goes to Ornn duty afterwards, but you know, I'm a little bit concerned. Maybe that caps this roster in terms of like peak potential, because, and we're talking like way in the future, right? At EMEA Masters, maybe they just can't handle enemy topsides.
Maybe not, but you know, it's very dependent on, like, I guess the growth they have over the next few weeks. I think, you know, Banderas has shown us also an ability to be very, very dominant in those top lanes, but I think, you know, the mistakes are the big... I think mechanically he's got the hands there. I just think some of the decision making and some of the mistakes, it's all in the head. And, you know, a coach can definitely help you fix your hands, but I think a coach is going to have an easier job fixing those kind of like decision making mistakes, right? That's going to be the big thing. Anyway, we actually have Spooder for an interview, so let's bring Spooder in. Hello, mate. How are you doing? You all right?
Hello, guys. I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, I mean we're doing good, dude. We're doing good. I mean, so a bit of a tough loss on that front, unfortunately. You know, what do you think were the key issues for you guys in this game?
I think I did a grief roam, you know, when on the Drake, the first Drake, it was completely pointless. I thought we could do more, but I misunderstood, you know, what we could do. So that part was bad. And then I think we slowly just, you know, fell behind and bled out. Like they were just slowly getting gold, you know, and we weren't getting anything. And they were stacking soul, getting nashes at all. We were just, you know, sadly falling behind slowly, and eventually we couldn't win a single fight.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna be a bit off topic. I just want to say, nice to finally talk to you, Spudo. We've had a lot of DMs about different top lane stuff, but just a fun question: what percentage of games do you think top laners die to being flipped under the tower as by Cassante? What percentage of games?
I
guess 90,
like close
80.
to 90%. Close to 90, 80, like something. Like this champ is not okay. Like he's call me a fucking McDonald's employee because I'm flipping them like a hat or something, you know? Like champ is not alright.
Yeah. And also, one more thing, real quick. Sorry, Fred. This is really important. Where was the Olaf? I was hyping it up in Champ Select, man. I was really hyping up your Olaf. It was open. I know maybe you don't want to play against Tryndamere like you said in the past, but come on, man. Where was that?
There might come a game for it. I'm not completely sure if it fits for comp, but I'm thinking about it. You know, it will be fun to pull out the Olaf and then make Eva go, you know, 0-10 and enemy team. That, you know, so expect it at some point that I'm gonna make everyone else go 0-10. Okay, I'm gonna whip out the Olaf.
Speeder, I really hope we do get to see it from you. But unfortunate loss. Good luck with your games coming up next week. And thank you for joining us for the interview. We will speak to you later, all right?
Yes,
see you in a bit.
Thank you. Yes, bye.
And there it is, Reptile, the AD carry here for the side of Riddle after that win. 4-0 in the first 2 weeks. I don't want to ask if that's the expected thing because I believe you expected probably to go 4-0. You know, let's talk just about the kind of like the mentality you guys have had going into this season. You know, what has been your goals? What have you kind of been focusing on as a team for this season?
I would say straight up our goals are going EU Masters. This is also, I guess, what we've been focusing on, just improving as a team macro-wise, because we're not the greatest on that yet. I think we're good individual players, but I think we've shown that sometimes it's a bit hard for us to accelerate games that we should be taking over. For example, yesterday I think was really slow due to some bad macro. But yeah, I think we have some good scrim practice. I think we learn a lot, and I hope we can show it the next few weeks. Because scrims have just been going way better than officials. I think it's the nerves with some people, and yeah.
So I wanted to ask 2 questions, right? But I'm not sure which one's better, because I wanted to ask a question about like how high do you think your peak is? Is it winning EMEA Masters, or is it you know, just making it there? What do you guys think? Because I've been told, okay, a little birdie, maybe his name rhymes with Anderaz, right? He said scrims are going really well. But
yeah, they're going pretty good. Obviously, I want to be confident and say we can go really far, but I don't want to be delusional and just straight up say, yeah, I'm confident we're winning EU Masters, you know. But yeah, I can see us go pretty far. We just need to be consistent, and we for sure need to be better in official games. Yeah.
I mean, to me, that didn't sound delusional. That sounded very connected with reality. You know, you have your clear goals, you have your beliefs in the team, but you know, you also have the realistic expectations on it. So obviously, there's still 2 other teams right now who are 3-0 in the standings. How do you feel that you guys are going to fare when you eventually go toe to toe with them? Do you think, you know, they might be your first real challenge, or do you actually think you can probably smash through it? And I guess we're early, but let's see. Do you think you can have a perfect split in you?
I think it depends on our day form. I mean, today you've seen we're not consistent every day. Some mistakes still happen. We definitely got to get in better shape for the perfect split. And I mean, I think Rudy is like one of our strongest contenders, and we've showed against them that we can do pretty well against the strongest teams in the league. So yeah, I really think 14-0 is possible. I also think we can drop a game depending on how the day goes.
Well, Reptile, thank you very much for joining us, and congratulations on the win. But we are gonna let you go, so we'll see you later.
Right. Bye bye.
See you later, mate. All right. Before we throw to break, I keep forgetting to do it. MVP. Who was our MVP for that game, Aragon?
Ooh. Oh, it's just Johan. I feel like I'm just saying Johan every single week. Like, but it's true. He's so damn good, and everything revolved around him for sure.
There you go. Johan is our MVP from Aragon. I can't give a counter argument to that, so I do agree. Guys, we still have one more game to go. We've been smashing through today. I can't believe we're on game number 4. Coming up after the break, we got ourselves Verdant versus Nord. It is our match of the week. I'm very, very excited for this one. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you in a moment.